Hi, Adam. Ruth. Please, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. My name's Adam Sigal. I'm a filmmaker, independent filmmaker thus far. I've made a couple feature films. I did a movie last year called Chariot with John Malkovich and Thomas Mann and Rosa Salazar, and then recently I wrapped on a film called Nandor Fodor and the Talking Mongoose with Simon Pegg and Minnie and Christopher Lloyd and Ruth Connell, Downey. Yeah.
And you?
Hi, I'm Ruth Connell. I'm an actor, most recently seen in Supernatural in America, and yeah, delighted to be in Nandor Fodor and the Talking Mongoose with this guy.
What can you tell us about the synopsis of this movie?
It's about a real event that happened in the 1930s on the Isle of Man. Yeah, true story, quote unquote. About a family of farmers on the Isle of Man who thought that their home was haunted by a talking mongoose named Jeff, and an investigator named Nandor Fodor who went out and tried to solve whether this mystery was real.
Which of course it was real.
Yeah. What can you tell us about your filming locations?
It was in Yorkshire, which is kind of the north.
Yeah, I mean,
north of England.
Mid-north of England.
Mid-north, and it was it's absolutely stunningly beautiful and very windy and cold, but
it doubles for the Isle of Man, which is an island just on the same latitude.
Yeah, exactly.
What should be for you a good acting direction? What can you tell us about your work with Simon Pegg, Minnie, Christopher Lloyd, and Ruth?
Well, I mean, it was very different experience for all of them. I mean, Simon was my guy, because he was my lead, and Simon was kind of there really from the beginning as far as like, I finished the script and then a couple months later really he came on, and so he was like definitely, I think I interacted the most with him creatively leading up to the project, and then on set, I mean, Simon is just incredible, just such a smart, diverse, like seasoned actor. Like he takes direction super well, and
he's a lovely leading man.
He is
sets a really nice tone.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah, and he can go from drama to comedy like that. And Minnie brings this like unbelievable class to the film, and just this beautiful, like, and she's hilarious. And then Christopher Lloyd is still Christopher Lloyd.
Back to the Future. Yeah.
You listen to him and you look at him, and I mean, he's just this very distinguished guy. And then Tim and Ruth are just strange, like in the film, like in like. So
misunderstood. More than strange.
No, they're strange. Their characters are bizarre in the film, and it was so beautiful to watch. And just like the way that Ruth played it, it's like I can almost describe it as like borderline creepy. Like
you told me you said David Lynch was an inspiration.
I know. This is not a criticism. This is like she took it exactly the way it should be. But I mean, as far as and then Ruth was just the loveliest, nicest person. Everyone loved her. Tim was just hilarious. I mean, it was a really great. He's so funny.
And Jessica, who's a newcomer, plays our daughter. Did a lovely job too.
Yeah. Overall, the cast was. I absolutely loved working with all these British and European actors.
And we all love working with you. And you keep such a calm head on set.
Thank you.
It's the only time I'll ever be nice to him. So, in an interview.
But afterwards,
you did a great job.
She'll throw me over this round. Yeah.
What were your source of inspiration to direct this movie and Ruth to create your character?
Well, I mean, the inspiration was the true story, and for almost 10 years, I knew I wanted to make this. I knew I wanted to write about this incident, but it took actually like a strange sort of like life incident for me that involved kind of religion that put it all together. Like I didn't want to just write a biopic. Like I never was like, okay, I just want to write this story of what happened. It had to have a deeper meaning. Once I found that, then it became what it was. So.
My inspiration was that I got the job. And seriously though, when I got sent the audition sides, when you read something and it just, you don't have to think, the character just jumps off the page. And then I went away and did a ton of research and kind of came back to what my instincts were because it was very well written.
Yeah.
And I loved doing the research. This person was a real person and a real fascinating family.
Yeah.
So it was wonderful to. There was so much inspiration in doing this project.
in our first conversation, literally, you were like, yeah, I was raised in like a small farmhouse and I'm very spiritual. I was like, oh my God, she's this person.
Yeah, and I found out afterwards, do you know this, that some of the local people on Isle of Man thought she might have been a witch.
There you go.
I didn't know that till after I done it.
Couldn't have been better.
In this specific time, how is difficult actually to create a movie and find some funds to do it?
The what?
To find some funds, money to do it.
Oh, yeah, it's, that is an adventure. You know, honestly, the way it works these days in this kind of independent film world, to be quite honest, is usually kind of reverse engineered. Simon comes on, and then suddenly it becomes a movie. You know, and so that's the reality, and that's how most of my films have been made, is like, Malkovich reads the script, loves it, let's do it. Sam Heughan reads the script, loves it, let's do it. Suddenly people want to do it.
Nice.
So it's kind of a combination of, you know, I guess like them liking the script, believing in my vision, coming on board, knowing that the film will get made that way, and then we kind of put it together that way. Like we had, let's put it this way, to be vague, we had some of the financing in place, and we knew we needed our lead in order to actually make it a real thing, and so that's how we did it.
Do you see movie more as a thriller, as a horror movie?
I'm sorry.
How do you see a movie, as a thriller or horror movie?
Neither. It's just a dark comedy.
It's a very dark,
Yeah.
whimsical
It is.
comedy. It's just it's all very specific, like very kind of British as well in tone. Which is
That's, yeah, I would say it is a British dark comedy. I'd say
Okay.
it has very, I mean, that's slight elements of horror when I say that, like almost horror comedy, but it's like, yeah, I mean, it's a dark comedy.
What were the main difficulties days during the making of this film?
Well, there were some difficult days. It's an independent film. There were definitely some weather-related difficulties. There was a day we shot at a cave in the middle of, you know, on a mountainside, and I mean, it was insane. I mean, it was like in the middle of a monsoon, and you know, just me kind of standing there in like full rain gear with the heaters in my hands and just going, God, my actors are gonna kill me, and I'm gonna have them go into this cave where there's literally water dripping from the ceilings and Minnie drivers sitting. I'm like, okay, Minnie and Simon, here's the deal. You know, so there was, you know, and then schedule is always a thing. You know, with an independent, you're always rushed. You know, and so it's a matter of like really knowing what I need and want and prioritizing what I need, and you know, and then there's still some days where it's like rushed.
yeah, they're just still though. There was still such an element of wholesomeness and heart behind it. It kind of all worked. It's
No, it's
weird.
true.
It was bizarrely good.
Yeah, that's a very good way to say it. That it was a bizarrely smooth filming experience.
For an
'Cause I've had much harder. Let's put it that way.
What was the most difficult scene for you to play and why?
It was difficult.
Scene to play.
Accent?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so the accent of this family is very
Yes.
unusual. So, I mean, I don't think anybody could do it very well.
No, you were
So we just kind of made it up. No, I actually recorded people from the place, from the area. I recorded them saying all of our different parts, and so we had actual audio to listen to kind of get closer to the strangeness that is the Manx
It was perfect.
accent.
So you talk about David Lynch. Yes. Who are your favorite directors? In which film are the main driving force behind your artistic creation?
Yeah, I mean, Lynch is. This interview would go for a couple hours if I talk about David Lynch, just because Lynch, for me, and there's other directors I like. Their film, like the Coen brothers, are probably some of my favorite directors, and this film has a bit of an element of that, a bit of Wes Anderson, and all directors I love. But Lynch in particular is. There's no other storyteller like him. Like Twin Peaks, to me, is one of the greatest accomplishments of storytelling, and I'm talking throughout human history, because I think that there's very few people who approach a story like Lynch does. He doesn't go, okay, I want to tell a love story about a young couple. Like, he thinks of a theme, and in the case of Twin Peaks, it was like he believed, and he started to feel that TV was too violent, and he thought that he really didn't like the way that shows that were big at the time, like Miami Vice, would all one episode, a murder, they solve it, they ride off into the sunset. He's like, no. Somebody gets murdered, lives are fucked up for forever, for the rest of, you know, and so he wanted to, but rather than explain that, he created this show that was like became almost meta, and the characters knew what they were in because he started incorporating his own feelings about the actual making of the show. And so, with regard to Lynch, and again, it's not even really pertinent to my film, but I love the way that he focuses less on narrative and more on theme. And that I do always try to do, and I know what I'm trying to communicate with my film, even if it's just an emotion. And anything I do, I'll try to portray that, even if it doesn't really have a lot to do with the narrative of the film.
What can expect the public from your panel this afternoon?
Oh, the panel.
Yes.
So
This is my first panel I've ever done, so I'm like
Nice.
just absolutely terrified. Hopefully people show up. I'm just gonna talk about the film, and it's an odd time for this because we wrapped this film a month ago, so it's pretty early for us to be doing this. But we're gonna show a little teaser, and we'll show some
There's
stuff.
some video stuff from Simon.
Absolutely.
Nice.
He's done some.
Yeah, and I feel like the cool thing too is that we mentioned this in the last thing too is like this is based on true events, and the actual events have a strange cult following. So it's just this bizarre incident in history that people know about. So I thought that was cool that hopefully there will be people that like are familiar with it, So yeah.
Do you have any French actors that you would like to work with?
French actors?
Both?
Oh, my favorite.
Is Eva Green is French, right? Eva Green is
Yes, we can say this. By our mother, I think, yes.
she's one of my favorite actresses. And
Juliette Binoche.
Juliette Binoche, yes.
Everyone in Call My Agent.
Yes,
Yeah.
good series of French.
And what's the woman who's in The French Dispatch? The mom, or the one for that? She was a mom.
Oh, Léa Seydoux.
Léa Seydoux, yeah. James Bond, yeah.
Right, she's
Amazing. Yeah.
What are your current projects?
I'm just starting to go into development on my next feature. I'll shoot early next year. It's about dogs. It's a post-apocalyptic thriller about dogs.
Okay.
And yeah, we're starting to very sort of the early. I'm still in full-on Nandor mode. We wrapped about a month ago, so I'm editing, doing all the post on that. But then I'm slowly kind of starting to put this one together to shoot in Budapest in the spring next year.
And my last question: what is a Comic-Con for you?
For me, it's something I've always wanted to go to because I've been a massive comic, graphic novel, anime, nerd. I played Magic: The Gathering growing up. I'm obsessed with all of these type of things, and so I've always wanted to come and experience that. This is a little different because I'm here promoting, my film, but that's what I've always envisioned.
coming to Comic-Con is like coming home a little bit for me.
Nice.
So nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're like a Comic-Con goddess. With your show.
It's lovely to be here.
Thank you so much. Can I take some picture?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Put my sunglasses on.
Sorry.